Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui kia koutou I tēnei ata. Welcome to the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board meeting for Friday, 21st of June 2024. We'll start with an opening prayer. Kei nui tātou, pauhihiri, paurarama, pau te whakaero, pau te tangata, pau te aroha, te pauhihiri nui a tātou, auri ora ki a tātou, paumie, huie, tātou. Morning everybody, nice to see our public gallery full this morning with people here to have a kōrero with us. Nau mai, haere mai, nice to see you all. Just a few notices before we call for any apologies. Looking forward to Matariki weekend coming up, and I know lots of people around our community have planned events, and well done to those whānau that have been successful in getting some funding from us previously. Just hope that your events all go really well and that they're well supported by whānau. And just hope that everybody's got their power back on after a little bit of a fright yesterday, kind of a bit of a look back at COVID times I felt when I drove past the petrol station about 6 o'clock and I thought there was an accident in the main road of Kaikohe, and it wasn't. It was everybody just lined up waiting for the petrol stations to open. So nice to know that many people were able to have their power restored, and thank you to all the great linesmen out there who did that mahi for us. We have a number of people online with us this morning too, so nau mai haere mai to those people online. And we'll start our hui this morning. Welcome to our staff and elected members around the table. Any apologies for this morning's hui?
What do you mean? Said you can't make it just prior to that.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll record Member Mike Edmonds' apologies. Any further apologies? We have Member Edwards, who will be late to the meeting this morning, and no other apologies. So we'll move into public forum.
Sorry. Oh, can I just declare I have a conflict of interest going forward? So I do have a conflict of interest with one of our funding applications here, Kente Kai, and I declare that now.
Thank you. Okay, so I welcome our public forum members this morning. Just remind you that you have 5 minutes to kōrero with us this morning, and our first member of public to have kōrero this morning is Mr. Riley. Hello, Mr. Riley. You're welcome to take a seat up the front, Mr. Riley.
I'll take it. I like to stand usually, but
you're welcome to stand if you want.
The years are catching up to me too quick, so I'm going to sit down. First, I mentioned the Honours Point some time ago, but I understand there's progress being made on it. Quicker the better. In Thorpe Road, the little bit of mowing that was done has been done, but I would like the mower to continue on down to the end of the road below the apple tree. It looks untidy and it wouldn't take much to tidy up, and it makes the place look a little bit better. The roadside gutters need cleaning. I can remember 50 years ago, John Padley and Eddie Kloss used to sweep the main street by hand every morning. We've got mechanical sweepers now. We should have bought it when we had one, but had a chance to get one. We can get better streets, and the town looks, as visitors come into the town, assess the value of that town by their gutters. And our gutters don't look that good at the moment. And on that note, the Old Bay Road, I would like somebody to nobble somebody that throws all those drink containers out on the side of the road. Mrs. Sharp prosecuted somebody once because we found a name in a rubbish bag and prosecuted, and it was successful. It can be done. And the last little thing, I object to the blackouts in the agenda. That's public knowledge. It should not be blacked out. I've raised that issue before. Somebody should be attending to it. Thank you.
Mr. Riley, thank you for your kōrero this morning. Just in response to the Honours Board, do you want any further information? Because we do have some information at hand about the Honours Board.
As I understand it now, I talked to a lady this morning, it's in hand so that in the fullness of time I expect it to be completed. If going back a few years, if they've been up to date, fill in that gap too, might be a little bit difficult, but it could be done. And how they were arrived at is that the community nominated and a committee selected 10 out of the nominations.
Yes.
It is something that is, I believe, quite valuable and gives recognition, even if it's just in a small way.
Okay, just in response to some of your matters there, Mr. Riley. The first was, so the mowing's been completed as per the contract.
Yep.
So anything beyond that is outside the contract.
All right, then put it this way. They neglected their contract for a long time. It wouldn't take much to fill that, and it would tie that up.
In terms of the blackout part, the blackouts of the agenda that you're referring to, are you talking about on the local grant application form?
Yes.
Because those are personal details to applicants.
I'm very well aware of that, but it was public knowledge and it used to be done, so it shouldn't be done now. There's some old traditions that are worth keeping.
Chair, may I address that?
Yes, you may.
We've actually had legal advice. We cannot do that because of the privacy concerns, because some people have taken that information and used it for their own purposes, which is inappropriate.
Good, it's that too.
Thank you, Catherine. Mr. Riley, can I just ask, have you RFS'd any of the roads that you're referring to? The Old Bay Road, the roadside gutters?
Main Street. And,
Yes.
and even coming up Station Road. You know,
Okay.
the race station's not far away.
Okay. And you're aware of the RFS provision that we have for community members to make requests for service? Have you got a request for service number for those items?
I think I put one in a long time ago about the rubbish.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair, I would just address in regards to the rubbish, if we do, I know our waste management team, if they do pick up illegal dumping and they do look through the rubbish bags, and if they do identify owners, they will take further action. So that is happening where we can find.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And that was bang on time, Mr. Riley. Well done. You're very experienced. Okay, welcome, Linda Bracken, Kaikohe Business Association update. Go to Linda. You're welcome to sit, stand, or dance. However you like to proceed, Linda.
Sit for a moment, thank you. Just a general update rather than a list of things which, like you say, I can put forward in a request for services. But pre-meeting, it's wonderful to network out there and feel the excitement of the community coming together and putting in applications for funding. So you don't often hear that, but it's really good. And thank you for what you have done as a community board over this last year. So mine's not so much a what have we got to complain about? Mine's, hey, let's embrace matariki. We're at the shortest day. Something new can happen moving forward. I happened to be at a meeting in Whangarei yesterday with the main guys from Top Energy, and the power. Our meeting started at 11 o'clock, and the power in our Zoom to the States and everywhere else kicked in. So getting firsthand, seeing for myself firsthand how they responded and how they acted. We cancelled the meeting because they had to address the issues. The first comment was, it's North Power, it's not us. And then they went, oops. So there will be some answers there, but a general type information thing for us is, even for myself, are we prepared for events like that as a community? And I'm talking my own household. I got out my little gas cooker, but I didn't have backup gas. So just a reminder somewhere in the community, being prepared, because it's going to happen one way or another, a storm or something else. So
That's right.
So thank you very much. And yeah, I'll follow up with some RFSs and just keep that communication going there. Thank you.
Any questions for Linda? Good to see you, Alice.
Sorry.
Great to see you out of your sling, your arm.
Oh, yes, progress as well. So you think it was broken 18 months ago. Then carpal tunnel, now a shortening of the bone. So I can paint out a few more graffiti signs now. Can't I, John? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. We have one deputation this morning from Scarlett Mokaraka, who's representing He Korowai or Kaikohe-Hokianga, presenting to the board an approach to community-led development. Kia ora, Scarlett. Just reminding you that you have 5 minutes for your presentation, including questioning from us at this time.
Yeah, kia ora, ko Scarlett Mokaraka tuku ingoa, no Kaikohe-Hokianga. Working from the bottom up, I guess. I'm a mother of 4, soon to be 5, that all go to the kura kaupapa here. Papa tū te kotaitanga marae Ngāti Whakieke, Ngāti Uione, Ngāti Rangiki. I'm also one of our hapu leads in Kaikohe for Ngāti Whakieke and work as a collective as Ngā Hapu Kaikohe, Ngā Puitakiwa ki te hauru on the executive there, and at the top of that all is a community. I'm also a member on the Kaikohe Business Association with my Pākahi Kairaka Awhi, and at the top of all of that is what we're trying to develop in He Korowai o Kaikohe-Hokianga. And what our Korowai represents is a network of our services and suppliers as kaimahi, who are, we're a model of practice essentially that prioritises collaboration and cooperation, information sharing, transparency and accountability to each other, and primarily to our rohe and our community that we reside in, which is Kaikohe. Now, our deputation today, it is a follow-on, so we've been active for since September last year. We started with a 5-day event at Ngāwha. That's all in our presentation. I have brought that here, so I'm going to just stream through that. But what our biggest struggle at the moment is that we've identified a need, and it's not only us that have identified it, but we don't have a governance model in Kaikohe, a model that has our representatives, the likes of our representatives from the Kaikohe ward or the community board, and elected members that come together and hold a vision and a strategy for Kaikohe, for our kaimahi to actually be accountable to a representative model. So that's what we're here to present and approach to supporting today. So one of our big drivers is placemaking. Placemaking as an activity might be a little bit sort of high level, but basically it's about us connecting with the places that we get to build in our community. And the urgency for our kaupapa is actually directly in response to the infrastructure development and investment that we're getting, knowing that those are going to be some of our best opportunities to close some of the social equity gaps for our rohe. Yeah, so who are we? So this just as a brief outline of who we are. You can email us at korowai@kairako, KAIRAKAU.co.nz to get any of this information. All of our information that we collect is transparent and shared openly. If we can go to the next slide. So we established essentially on the development of the Haora houses at the top of town, and we're concerned with the amount of public information and preparedness that our community had access to and were able to respond to, knowing that there's going to be a lot of high complex needs coming through our society with the level of development that we're experiencing. So what we know is that additional housing does not necessarily equal better social outcomes. It is only one part of the problem, but with that comes a number of other problems, and without collective input and insight, we aren't going to be effectively able to manage those and mitigate those risks. So He Korowai's vision is a one-stop, or it was a one-stop shop, but now it's the cloak that holds our suppliers and our service providers accountable to our community, essentially. Our values are te tiriti o waitangi me he whakaputanga, whakawhanaungatanga, potahitanga and te pō. And we prioritise te pō as a safe space to challenge each other in our mahi every day. Cool, so what we are identifying is the need for better collaboration and accountability to each other. I won't say better, there's a lot more that we can do. There's a lot that we also do really well, and we're going to focus on, for this presentation, the Kaikohe leadership group that is potentially one of our best opportunities to create the governance model that we need for our kaimahi to connect to. Okay. So what we might do, what we know we aren't is the leadership group. We aren't the governance model, because our job is to hold our kaimahi accountable. And we have nothing currently to be accountable to except a very broad community, which we do our best to in all the different networks. But what is missing is a single point that holds our vision and our governance for Kaikohe. So what we're wanting from the community board is, we see that the elected members are our best opportunity as a leadership group for Kaikohe to build that out to be more representative as our accountability. We've also got other opportunities here that you may be able to support, capability and capacity, funding obviously to support the project, open support and in-kind support. And we'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you, Scarlett. We've run out of time for questions unless anybody has a burning question for Scarlett. Okay,
Kia ora, Madam Chair.
Kia ora.
I just wanted to clarify, if I can ask through you, Madam Chair, can you, Scarlett, just confirm to the Community Board, you mentioned the group that you're working with, which is Te Korowai, and then you mentioned Kairako. Can you just explain the connection to the two organisations, please?
Right. So currently, Kairako is my Pākahi. We have a virtual administration office and a project management office, which has driven and held a lot of the activities to date. We did have funding for the initial event from the community board. We haven't received any funding since, just because it hasn't been. We've been focusing on just building the networks and the viability of the model. And so He Korowai or Kaikohe-Kohe has been labelled by the rōpū, by our network of suppliers and providers, and is currently a project. We have our project leads, myself and Lisa Brophy, have established our own community trust that is going to hold the project until such a point that we have, the goal is that we have some sort of entity that is owned by our rohere, where all of the He Korowai assets can be transferred to. Does that answer your question?
I suppose it gives some outline of the relationship. The other final question, Madam Chair, is when you talk about cloaking the groups, I take it that the groups have confirmed or confirmed that they are part of this group?
Yes, yeah,
They bring
they are.
cloak-
Yeah, that's right. They are all in support. And the next step is to understand what the makeup of any sort of governance group would look like. But they are all well engaged and supportive of the kaupapa.
I just have a
Thank you.
question. Scarlett, you mentioned project. What project? What's your project?
So He Korowai o Kaikohe-Hokianga is sitting as a project under Whiroha Community Trust, and our initial project is to establish a community hub or development hub that is some enabling functions for Arohe. So that's our priority project at the moment, and we see that as the enabling body that can do some of the work for supporting the development of a leadership group as well, with community boards leadership. So,
Sorry, Madam.
sorry.
Sorry,
Does that
Madam
answer-
Chair, just last. Oh,
Hey, up we babe.
sorry, just one more. So the group applies for funding once a project is identified, or does Te He Korowai go out and seek funding
Yeah, so
to
currently
enable projects?
currently our budget has been established that will be the project management office it will be a development hub that'll have some administration functions, communications and engagement, funding, administration and support. So that's at the sort of next higher level, and that will be directly accessible by all of our communities who lead this, all of our community organisations who have specific projects they want to lead and drive.
Okay, thank you. Final question from.
It's more a comment. So everything you're saying, I think would be really ideal to see that in your documentation in terms of a strategic plan of your moimoia for your trust or your group you're trying to set up. Because even after your presentation, I'm still a bit unsure of what's been asked for, and provision of documentation that states this organisation mahi's with us, this organisation is involved, and a document from that person that heads that thing. I think providing some sort of strategic moimoia would just enable anyone you go to for funding to clearly see what you're asking for.
Yeah, no worries. And
It's just a bit of feedback.
Yeah, no, all good. And I'm happy to provide that too.
Thank you, Scarlett, for your time and your presentation this morning. We'll move on now to our speakers, who also have 5 minutes each, and we've got a number of speakers, so we will be sticking to the 5 minutes time frame. So just a reminder that if you finish within 5 minutes, and if any of us have questions, we will I'm open for questions. So our first speaker online is Mandy Lynn, representing Everybody is a Treasure, and members can find that on page 33, item 7.1.
Kia ora, everyone. Pardon me.
Kakwe, Mandy.
Kia ora. My name's Mandy Lynn. I'm from Everybody's a Treasure Charitable Trust. And we have two projects that we're wanting to bring to the region. And I'll just briefly go over them. It should all be relatively clear. One is a body positive workshop for the community. This is a project that has traveled through a bit of the rest of the country. There was a film made about the project, which is currently traveling the world. But the main objective is that we are wanting to create a creative space that enables families to talk about the issues of body shame and body gratitude. And the reason why we feel this is important, there was a recent study that came out and it shows that for every year that you're wrestling with body shame, it ends up costing you $6,867 per year in wages issues, health and well-being, and medical costs as well, is what the average came out. Body shame can lead to eating disorders. Eating disorders are one of the most lethal things to face our youth. So our attempt is to create a project that opens up discussion for women and for youth. So the morning is a project where we bring the kids in with the parents, and we do art-based activities that help them to explore a positive relationship with their body. In the afternoon, we play the movie and have an artist talk. And in the evening, we enable a space for women who choose to become part of the exhibition that we're creating. So that is the first project. The second one is we have, from our youth work that we've done over the years, we developed a group of youth that are now national, and they run a By Youth for Youth magazine, amplifying youth voice. That's called Create Happy Magazine. And they have challenged us as their mentors to find more artists for them and to support the development of the top young artists in the country. So we are putting together a Youth Arts Wānanga, and we'll be hosting that, and we would like to have 10 students from the region be able to come to the workshop, which will be held down in Whangarei for the Far North region. Pardon me. So that's my blurt. Do we have time for questions?
Yes, we do. Do any members have questions for Mandy?
Where are your Wānanga workshops held? Like the location?
Sure. So the Body Positive one, we're hoping to hold in the War Memorial Museum in Kaikohe, and the town hall. Sorry, the hall. Did I get that right? Yeah. And then the Youth Arts Wānanga at this stage, unless we're able to get extra funding from other funding bodies, is going to be happening in at the Handavasa Art Gallery down in Whangarei. Sorry. But if we're able to get extra funding over and above, then we will look at putting on one further north. But for right now, I can only confirm that that is our definite plan. So we would be bringing 10 students down to attend that.
Okay, so just a question for me. So project 2 involves 10 students from this ward?
Yes, that's correct.
How will you select those 10 students?
Those 10 students will be selected through korero with principals of secondary schools in the region, and the not principals, the head art teachers in the regions, and they will select who they think is the most, will benefit the most from that support.
And project 1, how many students or rangatahi? You mentioned ladies. And for project 1.
For the Body Positive one, as many ladies as you can get me that are willing to do it, that we could fit in.
And that's here in Kaikohe?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right,
so,
thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, we're running out of time. I'm just trying to race through.
Yeah.
Member McVeigh.
Last question. Just since we're very spread out and very rural and pretty low socio-economic area, is there transport to take our rangatahi, our 10 rangatahi from this ward to Whangarei?
that is part of what we wanted the funding for, to be able to support that. So that'll have to work out with the teachers, and once we determine who the students are, but that is part of what we're wanting the funding for. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Out of time. Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker, representing the Graham Dingle Foundation Far North, item 7, page 39 on our agenda, Courtney Keenan. I'm not sure if Courtney's...
We've got George Whaalog on stage.
Ah, kia ora, George.
Oh, I'll stand up. Thank you. I'll talk very quickly. So I'm the regional manager for the Graham Dingle Foundation. So that's who we are. So we are a small NGO based in Kaikohe, 6 part-time staff, and we deliver programs right across the Rohi, as far north as Te Hapua, as far south as Titi, and then we also have a program here in the Kaikohe and also in Kaikohe. What we deliver 2 programs, Kiwi Can, which is a values-based program, and also we deliver a Ngāra Whetū Career Navigator at 2 colleges, one in Kaikohe, College, and one here at Northern Kaikohe. So that program is in essence a mentoring program. So the tuakana, which are generally made up of year 12 and 13 students, were it's actually the senior council. There's 12 students, and they mentor the year 9s, the whole cohort. And there are 2 days a week scheduled in the school program where the tuakana mentor the tainer, and they do things. The program is very scripted, prescribed. We also have a research and evaluation team at our head office that evaluates all our programs in the year. Last year at Bay of Islands College, the evaluations were excellent, and the program saw some really good outcomes with that leadership cohort and also the tainer as well. So things like the benefits of the school was increased engagement in school, less truancy, and also more school morale, better school morale. So the thrust of the application is mileage. So that would be for the coordinator to travel around from doing the program here in Kaikohe, but also when we do community events, and that will involve meeting with different industry, because part of the program is also the tuakana being mentored by community mentors that we select from the community. And sometimes that requires a bit of travel. For example, last year we had a strawberry entrepreneur that we engaged and took the kids, the tuakana over to them to do basically to see how the operation works.
Oh, George, I missed that. Strawberries.
Yeah, so it was a strawberry farm based here, I understand. The coordinator there was an entrepreneur that he engaged with and was able to take the kids to the centre.
Thank you. Anything further?
No, that's it. That's fine.
Okay, we have time for questions. Do any members have questions for George? Just one question, just for clarity, George. So this funding application that you're making is just for 2 schools from
your looking? Yes, for Northland College and Bay of Islands College.
Okay. Bay of Islands College isn't in our ward.
Okay.
Northland Colleges. And you mentioned cohort of year 9s. How many year 9s are there at Northland College?
It's got a roll of just over 230. So the year 9s, I'm sorry, I don't have that data.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Through the chair, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm Peggy, with the strategic advisor.
Have you been in touch with the council through the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs?
No.
It would be probably something that if they have a second round of funding that supports rangatahi, might be a good fit. So we can facilitate that connection with Janie Lowe. So
Thank you, Peggy. Any further questions for George? Thank you for your time, George. Well done. And just a comment, we've had KiwiCan running through Kaikohe about 10 years ago, and it was amazing. I'd really love to see it happen again here in Kaikohe and in Hokianga. And I think, like many things, it's about who the people are in front of the group of rangatahi that make the difference. So I know it's not always hard to get those little KiwiCanners around, but yeah, it was certainly a great program when we had it operating here in our area.
Thank you. Can I be excused?
Oh, no, don't start making good. Thank you very much.
thanks.
Our next speaker from Hokianga Community Educational Trust on page 47 of our agenda, item 7, Maria Barnes. Kia ora, Maria.
Tēnā tātou te whare. Me ana kia koe chiki moto ka kia tēnei ata. Kia koutou katoa. Thank you for having us here today to speak on our application regarding our place in Hokianga. Our place was once a thriving food haven, acres and acres of gardens producing large amounts of food and orchards that had all varieties of fruits. Our people hold wonderful memories of harvesting from these gardens and waiting for fruit trees to ripen. They worked together as a community and sustained themselves. No one went hungry. That is the place that we wish to revive and return to. We have rich, fertile soils and knowledge holders that can make this a reality. Who are we? We are He Kite Kai, a group of passionate and caring people who wish to ensure that our communities are food secure and no one is going hungry. We have 4 bases: Waimamaku, Opanoni, Whirinaki and Rāwani. We currently collect foods and fruit. We provide seedlings for whānau and fresh vegetables to our elderly and our vulnerable families. At this stage, we're reaching about 100 households. And believe me, it's way more than just a fruit delivery or fresh seedlings. There's a lot more that comes with those weekly visits. So we've been going now for about 3 to 4 weeks. This came about, I guess, off the back of the cyclone response that we were all involved in very intimately with our communities, facing no power and communications for a long period of time. It was through the conversations with our elderly that became close to us during that time that our hearts and ears opened to the realities and the needs of our elderly, the high costs of living and not being able to buy fresh fruit and vegetables, along with other things, and also the pressures of having to stretch every single dollar. In our country, we produce enough food to feed 40 million people, yet 1 in 5 of our families are food insecure and don't know where their next meal is coming from. Lisa Bruce presented on this at a conference, and there's damning statistics across our country and even more so in the Hokianga. So what are we hoping to do? We are hoping that through this funding, we will be able to use it as seed funding to begin and strengthen an even more dynamic program and project for our people that meets the needs through seeds, fruit trees, resources to increase our food base and to be able to supply to more and more families. But not just supplying, growing the knowledge so that our people can come on this journey with us and that they can learn these skills that our tūpuna we're experts in to be able to grow and provide. And also to have petrol vouchers to help with the deliveries to even reach further communities. Long-term sustainability is a big focus for us, and that's why we've asked for funding towards a coordinator that can complete a comprehensive needs analysis, looking at the gaps, looking at current food services and our ability to be able to collaborate with others, looking at the opportunities and creating a business plan to improve access and ensure that our plans are also resilient, something that shone through loud and clear during our cyclone response, when we were cut off from services, cut off from food providers, the flooding, and all of these impacts that are now becoming more regular features. So resilience is very important, and having our own food supplies is a must at this time, and moving into the future. We also want to address the immediate needs of a soup kitchen and systems that can get going right now to face and help our people. So we invite you to be part of this journey with us to enhance our place, our well-being and our food supplies, and that we return to a thriving food haven where no one goes hungry and everyone has access to nutritious and nourishing foods. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you. We have time for a few questions if anyone has a question.
I had a number of questions as I was going through the information, but you answered them all so beautifully. So,
I have one question around the amount requested for the facilitator. Can you just kind of give us a little bit of detail around that, elaborate that cost, please?
So at this time, you know, we all four of our sites are very busy in the day-to-day groundwork of meeting the needs. And I must say, the first time I went to deliver, you know, I was thinking a couple of hours. It's actually very time consuming. So the facilitator we feel is needed to be able to collaborate across the 4 areas and really strengthen how we're able to provide people and to have the time to meet with all those groups that we can bring in. You know, meeting with, it takes up a lot of time being able to do that. So we're hoping that that facilitator will really be able to build a solid plan moving forward. Our delivery and our on the ground work really aligned.
And just another question about the detail in terms of the amount requested for equipment purchase. Just knowing that you've already got 4 sites operating,
yes,
and they will all have been operating for some time.
Yes. So mainly those are garden sites. So those are providing staple foods. You know, we grow limiter, pumpkins, all of those kind of staple foods. What we're more looking at here is now getting the orchards developing. So they're not big spaces, they don't have orchards as such, so that's why that component has been put in there to strengthen that area. So our whole food base is enhanced. Yeah. And the seed banking, so we actually have community members who have also said, how can we help? So they are going to grow in their own homes, in their own spaces, so the seeds going out to those whānau, then feed into our drop-off centre. So every Wednesday, they're open to come to any of those areas, and then as we do our deliveries out with fruit, those are going out and strengthening our pensioner flats. So we've grown gardens there for our pensioners, and yeah, but the orchard side it's not developed, and I think it's a real need. Yeah.
So you would have,
sorry, Kiki first, please.
Through the chair, sorry. Have you been in contact with Foundation Northland?
We have had conversations, but at this time we just felt we really need to get going quite quickly. We didn't realise the need was so huge.
Yeah.
But we
got a strong hope to that.
Yeah.
And did you apply or know at all about the Kaikohe Fund earlier this year? It's just a modest amount. Did you?
Yes, I am aware of that Kaikohe. Yeah.
Thank you, Maria. We've run out of time. Thank you for your presentation today. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have representing Kaikohe District Sportsville, Debbie Raphael, item 7.1 on page 62 on our agenda. Kia ora, Debbie.
Hello to you all. I've been part of Kaikohe District Sportsville for a number of years now. We operate under a management agreement with Far North District Council, and we aim to develop Lindmark Park for the community and also to look after the sports who exist within Kaikohe. One of the issues we had a few years ago was with bikes and horses accessing the park. And there's two main issues with that. One is that they're a danger to the people who use the park and who are playing there. And the main one that we had problems with is that they rut up the fields majorly. And then the volunteer sports people were spending ages clearing the fields and people were tripping over, and there was a large health and safety issue with having bikes on the park. So we spoke to the council at the time, and they said, well, we're not paying for fencing, fence it yourself. So we fenced off the rest of Lindmark Park. Once the building was done, we realised we'd have to re-fence, which wasn't in our existing, the money that we spent on the new project. So we spent quite a bit of money, over 20,000, re-fencing all the area around the new car parks and building to stop these bikes. But it's now we've got this wonderful new fencing done by a local contractor, but all the rest of it around Penny Crescent, Mangakahia Road and the start of Recreation Road is really falling apart. It's getting quite old. So we've gone to a local contractor, the one we use. He's really good value, and he's quoted us 22 grand, just over, to redo the rest of the fencing, which is money we don't have. We've come to you for the half along Mangakahia Road, and we ask if you would consider paying for that to be re-fenced with a couple of extra entrances at the quarter mark and the 3/4 mark for the schools. Any members have any questions?
I just wonder where you're looking for your, sorry, the chair. I just wonder where you're looking through the other half or the other half.
We're a little short of money with the project, so it's going to be funding applications. But you're welcome to give another 4,000 for a bit of Recreation Road. Any further questions? Well, thank you, Debbie, for your presentation this morning. And it's certainly a building and area that we can be really proud of. And thank you for the work that you and your members have done. And I know thanks to you, Councillor Vucic, and Member Edmonds for your contribution as well. Certainly a great complex. Our next speaker, representing the Northland Edible Garden Trail, Graham Kettle. Members will find Graham's application on page 76 of our agenda. Hi, Graham.
Hi, good morning. I represent the Northland Edible Garden Trail. Our mission is to make resilient, food-secure, sustainable communities the norm in Te Tautokura. We've been operating for nearly 4 years now, and we modelled what we did and got inspired by what we did in Taranaki Sustainable Backyard Trail, which has been going for almost 10 years now. We have each year in mid-February, we have a trail. This February was over 10 days, and we had 35 properties open to the public. We opened up their properties to the public to come and see how they grow kai. We had a wide range of properties, from urban sections to lifestyle blocks to small farms to semi-commercial places. And people can just go and talk to the owners and spend the day with them and find what they do and get inspired of what they could do back on their land. It's been amazingly successful. We've had, considering we're just a small group of 4 volunteers volunteering our time, and we have practically no funding there, a little bit when we start. And we're just volunteering our time. And this year we had like 35 gardens. We also had another 8 workshops. We think about 1,500 people went on the trail to different places. It was over 10 days in each area in Tautokura. We focused the gardens together. Our trail now is about the same size as the Taranaki Trail, and they get funded by the council. But we don't have the same number of members going through. We have about a third of the people going through the trails that do in Taranaki. And what we really need is some help with financing some promotion and some advertising. And what I'd like to, one thing that happened why I've come to you and not to the Bay of Islands or anything like that is that this February, so many people said that gardens are like the best, properties are like the best was in the Hokianga and South Hokianga. And we have some remarkable people there doing remarkable stuff with the food. And to share that knowledge with other people is what we really want to do. So what we want these signs for is to promote it more so we get a lot more people to know this is, I have one of these signs for the Northland and Blair has 3 for all of Whangarei. So we really like about another 40 of these signs. This is a half square metre one we can use in urban areas. I would take it off that and make this bigger and just put February on there and simplify it. And really we've got the bigger ones up to a metre size we can use in rural areas. The signs we put up would not just be in the Kaikohe-Hokianga area. The ones we put up here would be to promote it to the local people to go and visit people like Gail and John and the Lambs and Turanaki and get inspired by the other people here, what they do. But we also put these up all through Northland and down in Whangarei to inspire people down in Whangarei to come up, the lifestyle people, especially around Whangarei, to come up to the Bay of Islands, to come up especially to the Hokianga and spend the weekend here in the Hokianga and go to these really amazing mud gardens we have out there. On our website, we promote that, and our website, we have a whole section of accommodation and food, and we'd start with all the Hokianga Kaikohe places for that to really inspire them to come here for a weekend for those 10 days. That's it. Chris.
Thank you, Graham.
No,
Councillor Visage.
yeah, thanks, Graham. You would have heard the other speaker talk about the Kaikohe as well. And I'm aware of a group in Kaikohe. I'm also aware of a group of Ahi that's got 10 acres. You probably know about it. It's quite a bit. The one Kaikohe wants to do 200 gardens, and they've got several on the go already. So I'm just wondering, and can we look at a bit more coordination? Just looking for some entity to pull those, all those pieces together. Because it seems the story is very similar. Yours is actually putting and promoting it out there, and also aware that with the cycle trail, a lot of people come through, and a bit of time can participate. They want to sit down and eat local food. So it seems to me that there's a good opportunity to generate income from these places. That makes them participating and a bit of coordination overall. Would you be interested in something like that?
Yeah. I think where we can do it, what we're doing is slightly different from what they're doing, but what we'd like is to have all those people on our trail. So that when people came to the trail, they could go and visit their farms. Because we're not actually, we do have a 2-acre block, which our property is actually on the trail, but we're not actually growing food. We're actually, our Northern Edible Garden Trail does. We just facilitate it and promote it so that people can go and visit all these different other people. So that's what our role would be. And we'd definitely like to coordinate with other people. Yes. We have several community gardens on here, like the one in Waimanatu and the one in some other community gardens too.
Thank you, Graham. Final question, Member McVeigh.
Oh yeah, just probably in response, I think that's an amazing idea and really good, like more coordination, more growing, more visiting and promoting and skill sharing. Just a note that actually I see in here that you do mention all of the groups that are part of Hikete Kaya actually might not be obvious, but they are the same people who are involved with the Edible Garden Trail as well. So it started, could it be bigger? Could it be more involved with the cycle trail? Exciting stuff, different funding application. Looking forward to that one.
Thank you, Member McVeigh. Just one comment from me. I'd really like to see some action in schools around this sort of kaupapa. Just a comment.
Well, I actually started with the school just down south, halfway. I'm going to help them put in the food forest into their school, and actually we're kind of expanding into that. Another thing I'm doing with some other people in conjunction with this is the crop swaps around Northland. That actually first one in North, this was started in Taranaki too. They called crop swaps. They started 10 years ago. The first one in Tautoko was actually in Kaikohe by Jackie Davidson. I used to go across there most weeks and help her. She had this one day where she called it a food day. And now we have about 8 of those actually, I think, in Northland. These crops, and they meet once a month, where we all come together. I mainly focus on the kawa one, other people do the other one. We come and we bring all our excess seeds and food and we just share them with each other and share knowledge. That kind of complements what we do.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you for your mahi and thank you for your presentation today.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next presentation from Pioneer Village Kaikohe, Kelly Van Galen.
Not answering phones, not answering emails, don't know where she is.
Okay, so we'll have to leave that for now. We'll move to our next speaker who is online, Selina Bursich from Te Kupunga Raumora Trust. Kia ora, Selina. And then page 90 of our agenda. Hey, koe, Selina.
Tēnā tātou te whānau te kaunihero te hiku o te ika, ki Hokianga me Kaikohe. Pūanga nui, pūanga roa, pūanga manaki, pūanga wānanga, pūanga tēnei te ingo o te ngākau minamina, tēnei te hiahia o te wawata nui, porohia nutia mai ngā hua mano o te tau, puritia e au kia aupiki ake ki te taumata kia punga, ka puta ki te whai au ki te ao mārama. Wairea te rangi e tū nei, wairea te papa e takoto nei. Whakapūmautia tēnei kawa ururoa, te kawa kia matariki. Haumi e, hui e, tā iki e. Tēnā tātou te whānau. I just said a few taku and karakia that we say in Puanga Matariki in our whole tapu. I'm here today to talk on behalf of Te Kupunga Raumora Trust. Ko Selina Bursich tōku ingoa i te taha taku pāpā no te uri o hau, no Kaipara, te taha taku māma no Hokianga a hau. I am the project manager at Te Kura Taumata o Pangaru. I'm also the chairperson at my most biggest mahi aroha job at Te Kohanga Reo Pā Arapeta. I used to work at Far North Reap in the education sector for about 6 years. And I'm also the art teacher here for NCEA, my latest ambitious project. So I've been tagged to tag Europe to talk about the kaupapa today. Basically, this is the 4th year of our celebrations of Puanga Matariki. What is Puanga? It is, we get to celebrate the New Māori New Year twice. Puanga is the first star that comes along. If you're on the west coast of the Northland area, you may already know this. And so we celebrate a little bit longer than other people and a little bit earlier. So basically our kaupapa this year, Te Kupunga Raumora Trust is based in Pangaru and helps to serve the well-being of the surrounding areas of Pangaru. Also, a school is encompassed within that because a lot of our trustees are part of the kura. And our kura represents over 11 marae from Pangaru right through over to Omanaya. We have some tamariki from that way through to, we have kids that are represented Motukaraka, Pawaringa, right out to Muti and over to Te Rangi Point. And Motiti. What else? Our 7 kaupapa this year that we're looking at celebrating. We've just we started on Wednesday. We had Matariki Heri Kai. That was we're trying to integrate kaupapa within the school out into the community so that we can get a far wide reach and get community involvement. So we had some of our taitamariki do a night market, and they did that on Wednesday. We had our noho marae just last night and our hautapu kia puanga this morning. So I'm a little bit out the gate tired. I'm riding on sugar right now and coffee. Our next kaupapa is tomorrow. We're celebrating. So if you've never been to a hautapu, it's to celebrate. So puanga is if you look at a waka, puanga is at the front of the waka and matariki is kind of at the back of the waka. And puanga leads you throughout the whole year and collects your hui mate. So puanga is the main kind of like the leader, I suppose, or the navigator, and he collects up all the hui mate, all the people that have passed on and all their memories, and we celebrate that by doing a whole tapu. And then the whole tapu is to celebrate Matariki with all the other little stars. And so we've done one of those this morning. We're doing Puanga Ororo Manawa a Pōpō. So we have a stage going up into our kura gym, and the whole community is invited. How much people are in the community? Well, estimated 300 to 500 people will be coming tomorrow night, hopefully. We've been marketing it for quite some time, and that's just to celebrate concert performers and some of our school bands that we've been creating, and some of the kapahaka that they've been practicing, and also community members that have got some items ready to go. Then we have our, on Sunday, we have all our graduates that that we're going to celebrate in Whakanui. We start off with church at 9 o'clock and then go over to the marae and have a kaihakari and tukitaonga. And we're going to celebrate anyone that's graduated within the last year, from Matariki last year to this year Matariki. The last one that first was held was by Pa Hinari Tate, and we're just trying to carry on that tradition. And we had one last year with 7 graduating in contemporary education, masters at Te Taumata Pangaru. And this year there's a couple of teachers that are from the Hokianga that are getting their teachers' degrees. A few people getting their masters in leading change for good, and someone with their whakapakari kohanga reo, and a few others, just to give you a bit of a context. And then
Kia
on
ora.
the
Thank you, Selena. We've actually run out of time.
Oh, far out, okay.
You did well.
1 minute.
Are there any questions from elected members?
Just a comment. What an amazingly beautiful application, very clear to understand, and very attractive. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And I just need to declare a conflict of interest here. Aroha mai, I didn't do it at the beginning of the meeting, nor waihoaho.
Yes, Denise did say that. She poked her head and she goes, "That's Auntie Barbara Bla's daughter." I was like, "Oh, I don't know." She looks familiar.
Hi, Auntie Nani, she would have said, "That's my mum."
Yes, that's what she said.
Hi, Kia ora. Kia ora, Selena. Thank you for the great work. And yes, as Jessie said, I can see he kaiako where? He fukumahi ia. Ka pai. Thank you. Fukumahi koe. Ka pai. Thank you for your presentation today, and hope the celebrations go well.
Namahi.
Aye. Okay, we have come to the end of our speakers. So thank you to people that are still in the room. You're welcome to leave if you'd like, and you can watch back this live performance at your leisure at any time, or Catherine will be in contact regards to any application information. Thank you. Next on our agenda is chairperson announcements, and the chairperson has announced earlier, so apologies for that. Item 6.1 in our agenda, members, confirmation of previous minutes on page 8. If you'd like to refer to page 8, please.
I'll move them.
Thank you. We have a mover and a seconder. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board confirms the minutes of the meeting held 17th of May 2024 as a true and correct record, moved by Member McVeigh, seconded by Councillor Vusic. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. Moving on to reports on page 13. Okay, and we are on 7.1, funding applications. So the first recommendation on our reports is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board rescind Resolution 2022/64 of 14th December 2022 to the Waimamaku Community Garden Group for irrigation setup and consumables, and direct the funds in the amount of $2,586 be returned to the board's Community Grant Fund account for reallocation. I will move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you, Member McVeigh. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried. The next recommendation, that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board part rescind Resolution 2023/85 of 22 November 2023 to Ngāpuhi Hokianga Ki Te Raki Incorporated for their 2023 Christmas event, and direct the remaining funds that were not uplifted in the amount of $1,450 be returned to the board's Community Grant Fund account for reallocation. Moved by Member Felia. We have a seconder. Thank you, Member McVeigh. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? And no abstentions. Thank you. That's carried. The second recommendation, the third recommendation, in fact, that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board leave the application from ARCO Foundation for the costs towards community placemaking consultation to lie on the table until the Far North District Council placemaking team has spoken with the board. I will move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Second. Thank you. Member Gundry. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. That's carried. The next recommendation, that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,000 plus GIST, if applicable, be paid from the board's Community Grant Fund account to Everybody is a Treasure for the cost towards Youth Art Wānanga and their Body Positive program. I have a mover for that recommendation.
Get a blank and have a discussion on some of these items as we did before.
Yes, that would be a great idea. I did talk about that earlier, but because the figures are in the agenda, can you direct us on that, Emery? If the figures are in the agenda?
Through the chair, you can move it with or without the figures. That is up to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor Vusic. So for further recommendations, I will move them with blank figures. Thank you.
And do you want to make that public excluded discussion?
Not unless we have to. Okay, so that recommendation is the sum of blank. Yes? Okay, so do we have a mover for that recommendation? Thank you, Member Felia. Do I have a seconder? I'll second that. All those in favour? Aye. Any against?
Now we're going to have a discussion.
Now we can have a discussion, and then we'll have somebody make recommendation for the amount. Correct? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, who has some discussion? Councillor Vusic.
Oh, put them on the spot. I was trying to make it a bit easier.
Oh, sorry, I thought you gave me the eye. And the wink.
It sounds okay. The only question I actually had is the local schools involved in the, I was trying to fit it together in terms of what's the impact locally. I know they're looking right, they're based, they're a fairly large organisation, they're based right throughout the I think it's a good thing. I haven't got in my mind the actual figure that I think would be given the fund that we actually have available. That's something else I should have looked at, what funding we have available to.
It's on page 13. We have $9,756 of rescinded funds and $59,055 placemaking funds.
In the executive summary of that report we've got there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
It's in the executive summary right at the beginning.
So that's including the rescinded funds, the community grants just under 10,000 and
We've
the,
done the calculation.
Here it is.
yeah.
What's the total? 96295.
59.
9,756,87 community grant. Yes.
Yes, and that's including the rescinded amount.
Yeah, and then the 59,055 for the placemaking.
So we have $68,811 according to my calculation.
You do that in your head.
I did.
So we can cut off. We need to think.
Okay, any further comment, councillor Visage?
Not from me, but we just need to provide a figure that.
Okay, yes, I too highlighted local schools. I would have liked to have known what local schools. It wasn't clear. And I feel that when I read it, and I probably should have asked the person, I didn't feel it was directly related to our ward. Where it is. What's it called? Oh, there it is, yes. Okay, that's my comment.
I've probably a funding allocation that might be best directed to staff, perhaps, but while I support the concepts and particularly the one around bringing youth into having mentorships and workshops, is it possible to be more specific about this funding is for travel from Rangatahi for our ward? Like, can we be that directive, not just it's a part of what we hope to do?
Yes. You can even say that in the resolution.
Yeah.
Just to be specifically used for our.
Yeah, and so if they do get our art teachers or teachers putting forward 10 or some number like that of tamariki from our area, then, because for me that's actually a barrier that I think a lot of our tamariki would experience, is being able to get a whole day out and go to whāngarei, but the teachers in the room will know more than that than me about it.
Teachers struggle to get kids to a kitty event.
Yeah.
Pulling in behind to get to.
So you can just put that in the resolution that you grant, if you decide to grant, and that it's specifically for tamariki to attend and must be used towards the.
Yeah. So would I make an amendment now?
Do we have any further discussion? I just in the application read the Hunter Vasa Arts Centre has been struggling to get teens to come in voluntarily to engage with their beautiful centre and talented artists. The Wānanga will give students a chance to become familiar with the centre and all it has to offer them and get to know the staff. Yeah, I just didn't feel that was a very good purpose in my head. So,
through the chair would move this as a blank.
Yes. Yes.
Having discussion, and then we're going to move the amount we use.
That's right. So I would like to recommend that we decline this application.
I second that. Do we second? Through the chair, that would be a direct. Where am I making anything that would be a direct negative?
I think in the past we just moved to approve $0.
Yeah, that's what we did at the last meeting.
Which
that was one task question, it wasn't. Okay, all right. So I will move that we approve the sum of $0. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that, just for the same reasons.
Member Belia. All those in favour?
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. We've all got to remember that process. I'm relying on you guys.
When there is a, if there are some issues that, well, personalities in the public excluded, Just a bit of a reminder.
Did you feel that that was talking about personalities? Councillor Usage, okay. Yes.
Just anything else coming up? Just that's one reason why it was actually done, and then it was made out of and make it bigger, so that we can actually be really frank in some discussions.
Thank you. So any member is welcome to move that we.
Yes, anything else looking forward?
Yes, certainly.
So,
thank you.
but on the second one coming up, that's the Graham Bindle one.
Yes.
I think that's a really good organisation, so I'm happy to move it for the 3,000.
I'll second.
Yeah. I was going to tell you while you're jumping ahead of protocol.
Sorry.
No, you're not at all. Okay, so the recommendation is that we approve $3,000 to the Grand Dingle Foundation Far North, and that's been moved by Councillor Vucic, seconded by Member McVeigh. Any discussion? All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Carried.
I don't think we could do, by moving by blank, we can have a discussion on the table. So looking at the next one coming out at that price, which is quite a large figure. I actually think it's really good project. But I wouldn't mind a discussion around it, sort of because of the thoughts I had before. That's my opinion, so I'm happy to.
So I'd like us to move into public excluded so that we can have a free and frank discussion, given the amount and the members involved in the application. For a free and frank discussion. Can we pause the live, please?
We'll move and second that.
We'll move and second that. I've moved it. Councillor Vucic has seconded that. Can we?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Is there a possibility that I could be part of the discussion with the board as well? I don't know, conclusion.
Councillor. Stay online. Thanks, babe.
Thank you.
Just meeting the people, and apart from Babe, he's the only non-staff member up there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Are we off?
Yes, we're on.
Yeah.
account to Hokianga Community Educational Trust for the costs towards He Kite Kai addressing food insecurity in the Hokianga. I will move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Felia. All those in favour?
I'll abstain just for the record.
Any abstention? Thank you, Member McVeigh has abstained. And that's carried. The second recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $2,450 plus just applicable be paid from the board's community grant fund account to Hokianga Community Educational Trust for the cost towards Puanga Matariki program in Rawene.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Vucic. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Edwards. Any discussion? I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried. The next recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $11,132 plus just, oh, sorry. The Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approved the sum of $20,000 plus just, if applicable, be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to Kaikohe District Sportsville for the cost towards replacing the Mangakahia Road fence at Lindbark Park. We have a mover, thank you, Member McVeigh. We have a seconder, thank you, Member Gundry. Any questions around that?
Just a note.
No, Councillor Vucic.
Just a note for the public that I'm not a member of the Kaikohe District Council. I'm here a few years there, so I resigned.
Thank you. And we'll put that to the vote.
Right.
All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? And that recommendation is carried. The next recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $2,775 to be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to Kaikohe Young Jung Do Development Trust for the cost towards venue hire for training classes. Thank you, Member. Councillor Vucic has moved that. Do I have a seconder? I'll second that. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? That has been carried. The next recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,703 plus just if applicable be paid from the board's community grant fund account to Northland Edible Garden Trail for the cost towards signage and promotion for the 2024 trail event.
I'll move.
Thank you, Member McVeigh. I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? And that is carried. The next recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,000. Is that 3,000? No, that's 8,000. No, no, sorry, we're leaving that to lie, the Kaikohe Pioneer Village application.
We have to move.
And do we need to move that it is left to lie? The Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board leave to lie application from Kaikohe Pioneer Village for costs towards provision of an outdoor showers, power and camping outlets and an outdoor movie venue. I'll move that. Seconded by Member Ophelia.
I'm on the board, so just...
Councillor Vucic abstains. All those in favour? Aye. And we have one abstention. And just for clarity, that's been left to lie because we had no one here to speak to that application. Recommendation, the next one, the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $6,500 plus just, if applicable, be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to Te Kupinga Rauora Trust for the cost towards Puanga Matariki Pangaru.
I'll second.
Moved by Member Felia and seconded by Member Gundry, and I'm abstaining from this vote, having conflict of interest. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. And my abstention, noted, please. And that recommendation is carried. Next recommendation.
May I, through the chair?
Yes.
If you grant the full next one, you can do it completely from the Community Grant Fund. And that will leave you with a balance of $2,636.87 if you want to be specific. Which, if you chose, you could go back and revisit the Sportsville one and grant that to them because that would give them the full amount for the fence. Just a full.
Thank you. And the final recommendation that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $603.87 be paid from the Community Grant Fund account and $969.
So the full amount is 1181 and it can all be done from the community grant.
She's adding them together.
Okay. It's missing the hourly. Where's that going? Oh, here it is. The amount is $1,181. Be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to Rawene Community Library Trust for the costs towards a whānau film evening in Rawene. I will move that, and seconded by Member McVeigh. All those in favour? Aye. Any abstentions? That is carried. Okay, as Catherine indicated, we still have a balance of $2,600. So Emery's just checking the rule book. Okay. Chairman, quickly. Sure. Let's take an adjournment so that we can catch up with the rule. Thank you. Can we have I'll move that we don't move? No, we just adjourn. Okay. Can we stop the live, please, Will? Thank you.
What's the 2,600?
Flipping the message to Emery so that she can get it directly.
I mean, the $2,600 is.
It'll be 22,636.87. Might as well use all the cents there, John.
Allocated to the fence Kaikohe District Sports Ball because of the we've given them the full funding that they need to do it and address the issues of safety and protection of the field.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? And that is carried. Thank you.
And now you have nothing left.
Moving to page 100, item number 7.2. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the project reports received from Manaaki Tinana Trust, an interim report, Toi Tangata Ngā Kai o Te Māori or Kaiho College Tai Tokiro Festivals. I'll move that recommendation. Do I have a second? Thank you, Member McVeigh. Any comment, questions about those reports?
Awesome kaupapa. Very good to get reports and to get interim reports. So very pleased.
Total. Thank you. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? And that is carried. Item 7.3 on page 108. Recommendation that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the June 2024 member reports from Chair Chicky Rudkin and Deputy Chair Tanya Fair. Thank you, Councillor Vusic. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Gundry. We'll take those reports as read. Any comment, question, discussion?
Just thank you, Tanya, because she actually did thank very much my mates for the hard work that they've done. So that's a nice touch.
Fire Chicky did that.
Is it? Okay.
We must have both had the same thoughts.
Both of them, yeah. And block culverts. That's an issue that really we should be.
It's a big issue,
We should
and
be.
it's a frustrating issue for everybody concerned.
Yeah, so just publicly noting that that's an issue that we should be dealing with. Because it's going to cost us more money in the long run to leave it alone. And I'm really pleased with the report and see the horse in the boat on Trees Park and that's been. Thank you.
Councillor Vusic. Those reports have been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Moving on to item 8.1 on page 116, the Statement of Community Board Fund Account. Recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receives the report, Kaikohe-Hokianga Statement of Community Board Fund Account as at 30th of April 2024. I'll move that, seconded by Member McVeigh. Any question or comment around that report?
I'm just really proud of the amazing kaupapa that this board has supported, and that we have not left any pūtea to be absorbed, but that it's all going out to refresh in the next round. So, and that we're getting the same amount coming through the LTP, which thank you to all of the people that influenced that. Probably you yourselves, Vicky and John.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried. Item 8.2, the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board June Open Resolution Report on page 123. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receive the report Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board June Open Resolution Report. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder for that report? Thank you, Councillor Vusic. Any comments, questions about that report?
Do we wage on some of these? I noticed that, like the first one there with the Kaikohe-Hokianga Bowling Club. The lease has been sent out 29th of April. Is this completed? And it applies out to some of the others as well.
Anybody around the table that can answer that?
So I think that if the list has been sent out to the tenant for review on the 29th of April, the update that would come back to the next meeting in the open resolution report would be that it's been, there would be another update before this is completed off to say yes, it's been signed, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, is that saying that we're still waiting for it to be signed, or that it just hasn't made it to this?
No, well, we either or, I'm not sure.
Does someone follow up that, or they just?
Yep.
Yeah.
So on a monthly basis, usually myself and or Emery will follow up what's left on there. So then we bring another update. It might not be the actual real time, so like this is the 29th of April sent out, but so I see, there should have been more recent. I might get what you're saying, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant, does somebody follow up with the tenant?
Well, that'd be Michelle's job.
Okay.
Yeah, so she said that's the property team who do that.
Further question, comment?
With that report, all those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? No, that has been carried. Item number 9 on page 126. Karakia whakamotinga. Kei a koe, Nimba Gundry. Oh, no.
Gloria Honori Hariria Kei Kona Mana Timatua Tama Ara Arera Pono Wātama Mai Keruto. E tau tupu mai, ai nei, ake nei, ai. Kia ora me tātou.
Kia ora, thank you everybody for your attendance.